And away we go. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, wherever you happen to be in the world today. Welcome one and all to Coffee Talk. It is time once again for Coffee Talk Live, where we will be having some discussion about what's going on in the world today. We'll take a look at some clips from the news, share a little bit of dialogue with those of you who are able to join us for the live portion. And if you're anywhere else and you wanted to join the live portion, you can find us Monday through Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube on Coffee Talk Live. And I'll put that up there really quick. Here it comes. Because I am simultaneously podcasting on Coffee Talk and Prepper University. But as of the first week of June, I'll be backing up from putting the podcast on Prepper University and keep it exclusively on the Coffee Talk Live channel on YouTube. And then I can rededicate the Prepper University channel to specifically prepper related things. Hopefully. So as always, I do read through as many comments as is reasonable. And I'll go ahead and say hello to some of the people that are chiming in so far. I see that Tuck is here. Jeff, Dragon, Helter, Monkey, Lucky, and hello to everyone else who perhaps is unable to chime in and say hello. That's okay. Glad you're here anyways. Lucky, I did remember about your puppy. Just to let you know, that was you, correct? I did remember about the puppy. I've noticed, and this is off topic from what's being talked about in the news today, but just a local thing here. And it's about the graduation. It's graduation day at least in, Lithonia, Conyers, wherever I'm driving through. And I'm passing by these schools and they're mobbed with cars. And I drove by this elementary school and both sides of the road are lined with cars for like a mile. And, it's semi-rural right there. It's all ditches. So they're hanging on and blocking the road. And all up the side streets, cars. And I'm like, what the hell's going on? Is it a teacher meeting? Graduation? Turns out it's graduation. Okay. Turns out it's graduation today. Do you even want to go to your kids' elementary school graduation or junior high school graduation? I didn't want to go. And I was graduating. I didn't go to the high school graduation because I didn't graduate high school. I got a GED and went to work. I didn't go to my college graduation, and I was Phi Theta Kappa. I didn't show up. They gave me all the stuff too. I got the Phi Theta Kappa tassel and sash, and I've got the key because they gave me a Medal of Honor because of my GPA. I had the key. I had all that stuff. I didn't show up. Oh no, I didn't show up. I didn't even have to pay for the stuff. And I still didn't show up. Who else is with us? I see Sven is here. JJ, Caps, D-Lo. And D-Lo says, thumbs up. Please do, folks. I sure hope you do give us a thumbs up at least. Brian is here as well as Raccoon. But the reason it stuck with me before I get into the news is seeing all the cars lined up and seeing the parking lots crammed with vehicles. It reminded me of like parent-teacher night. Remember, anybody have this going on where they are? I've probably been to a couple of hundred of the damn things because I used to work for the Juvenile Justice Authority. So I had to act as a proxy for my clients. So I had to go to tons of them. Sometimes I could get away with lumping them, which meant I had to do a lot of doubling back and running around in the junior high or the high school. If I had like, say, 4 or 5 clients going to that high school, I could run around and do extra. But it was such an incredible waste of time. I don't remember who you are. 2 minutes after I walk out of that classroom, I'm never going to see this person again. Whatever you tell me as a parent or proxy parent, as the case may be, doesn't matter because the school's going to do whatever the hell it wants anyway. It's such a colossal waste. It reminds me of like office office meetings or company meetings, waste of time. Anybody, I've asked this before, anybody been to a meeting and gotten anything out of it, or was it just a total waste of freaking time? Meetings are useless. At least sometimes they feed you. You might get pizza out of it. But it's like, I need to sit here for an hour, or training. Training for the most part is useless. I used to hate training. And a lot of times it's like stuff that doesn't even apply. I got a lot of that when I worked for mental health. I had to take training constantly because there's a lot of requirements, but much of what they presented to me didn't apply to what I was doing. So it was a waste. Then you'd have stuff that possibly could apply, but it contradicts your previous training. So I could take 2 classes back to back, both on the same subject, and they'll contradict each other or have nothing to do with my branch in mental health. I've gone through that in so many different jobs. It's like, why am I learning this? What does this have to do with me? It's such a waste. Lucky says, thanks. I got called twice from 2 different high schools. Didn't go to either one. Nature Nerd says parents didn't care about the kids if they had hired proxy parents. Well, no, I mean, because I had to be a proxy because they were in my custody. They were in my facility for juvenile justice. So the parents couldn't be there. Some of them weren't even allowed to have contact. But it was a YRC2, Youth Residential Center 2, or Security Level 2, which is essentially a really nice way of saying a halfway house. These are kids that were in jail for real, juvenile detention, and we were a transition. So they had to stay in my building, but if they were authorized, they could go to school, they could get a job, they could take GED classes, they could go to drug rehab, whatever. But if they were enrolled in school, I had to show up like I was the parent. Monkey says he gets daily meetings, and it's usually the same shit every day unless it's a huge difference from the norm. Otherwise, 99.9% of the time, it's a waste. Yeah, it sounds like UPS forced daily meetings when I was at UPS. Every day. It's a safety meeting, and it's stuff you already know, but they do it so that they can sit there and say, well, we told you, in case you get your leg broken or something. And Fluke Man is here, as well as Spectre. And Cap says, like, share, and subscribe. The channel needs it. Yeah, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. All the help I can get, honestly. All the help I can get. One day I'll open this up and there'll be 100 people in here, and I won't know what to do. Now I'll just talk as normal. I mean, what are you going to do? I'll just keep talking. I'm good at that. And no, it's not really a Starbucks cup. This is one of those like cups that they give you that you can reuse. I don't go to Starbucks. I've been to a Starbucks. I haven't been to Starbucks in, God, more than a decade. And I used to go to the one that was in Barnes & Noble. It's a different animal. Much better than the traditional Starbucks. Most likely because it's not busy at all. So nothing is rushed. Nothing is rushed. But yeah, thank you, Caps. I appreciate that. And that was me blithering on about seeing cars. So there you go. And also, before I get into the actual news here, I'll let you know, still no luck with the missing cats. Still no luck, unfortunately, with the missing cats. I did a sweep again this morning, could not find them, and I feel really, really bad about that, especially since 2 of them, one is very young, and she'll probably be fine if she doesn't find her way back. But the other 2 are the 2 that needed me the most. And that's really eating me up. That's really eating me up. One of them is damn near 20. He's very old. And the other one has no teeth. And it's breaking my heart that they're not where I can get to them. I don't know where the hell they are. And some of you will understand and some of you may not. If I can't find them, a piece of me is going to die with them. It's really bothering me. Really bothering me. Also, I don't know if anybody is aware of this. I'll just throw this up on the screen real quick. Today is the anniversary of Johnny Carson quitting. That was 33 years ago, final episode today, May 22nd, 33 years ago, when Johnny Carson did his last show and walked away. And I think it's fascinating. And by the way, he really didn't do anything afterwards. He stayed retired. I mean, he did like a guest appearance on The Simpsons. He was on the phone a couple of times with David Letterman after Letterman jumped to CBS. He never set foot on the Tonight Show again and really didn't do much else. But he was the last true late night host. He was the last true late night host. He did not like politics. He did not like talking about it. He might take a jab here and there, but he himself, and I saw him in interviews, Johnny that is, he didn't feel it was appropriate for a celebrity to push political agendas. So he might might take a jab at Reagan here and there, or, whatever, but he did not want to talk politics. And it's kind of a shame looking back. And I remember watching at that time and not liking the changes when Leno took over and not liking much else. It opened the door for a lot of politics in late night television that led us to where we are now with guys like Jimmy Fallon. JJ says, I remember him quitting. I'm getting old. Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. And Nature Nerd says, wow, 20 is an old cat. Yeah, and both of them also, to make matters worse, when they were rescued, when I found them, they were both literally dying and were brought back. And now they're lost, and it's killing me. It's killing me. But yeah, he was the last decent host, although All People suggests he was abusive. And I'll put that up there from All People really quick. But abusive or not, he was the last quality late night host I think we've ever had. The legitimate one. The era of late night television really kind of died with him, and hasn't been good since. Hasn't been good since. Late night television is difficult at best to watch. Really difficult at best to watch. And then I'll give you the thumbnail. Talking about the thumbnail here. It was alluded to yesterday. I mentioned it briefly because it was very, very much breaking news. Reuters, U.S. accepts the luxury jet from Qatar for use as Air Force One for Donald Trump. That's right. So guess what? They're taking the jet. Of course they are. And Democrats are whining because it says it'll cost $1 billion or more to convert the plane to Air Force One standards. That was going to happen to any plane that we worked with, because they're going to armor the plane. They're going to it is armed. There is weapons systems. There's communication systems, advanced communication systems, and others. So I don't know how much it would cost. I think $1 billion is a bit of a stretch, but it is what it is. So there you go. The United States has accepted a luxury Boeing 747 jetliner as a gift from Qatar, and the Air Force has been asked to find a way to rapidly upgrade it for use as a new Air Force One to transport the president, according to the Pentagon. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth accepted the jets for use as Trump's official plane, the Pentagon said. Pentagon spokesperson Sean Parnell said the Defense Department will work to ensure proper security measures and functional mission requirements are considered. They're going to weaponize it. I mean, They're going to weaponize it. And then this is the complaint. Legal experts have questioned the scope of laws relating to gifts from foreign governments that aim to thwart corruption and improper influence. Democrats have also sought to block the handover. Again, and I'll read this quote from Chuck Schumer real quick, and you know who he is. Today marks a day in history, a dark day. The President of the United States of America officially accepted the largest bribe from a foreign government in American history. And of course, that's Senate Democratic leader Chuck Schumer, who is a shill to the max. It is not a bribe because Trump will fly in it for a little while. It was good for a little while. Or he'll ride in it for a little while, but he's not keeping it. It's a gift to the country. It goes to the Pentagon because it's going to be retrofitted by the Air Force. It's not like he personally is getting anything out of it except for an exchange on Air Force One that will pass on to the next president, whoever that may be. And, if you're going to complain about that, I wonder if you also complained about the $9 billion worth of hardware that was left behind in Afghanistan, or any of the other billions of dollars worth of equipment, money, or other products that we give away to other countries constantly. Constantly. The U.S. gives everybody everything. Someone gives us something. Oh, it's a bribe. Only because it's Donald Trump and Orange Man bad. Orange Man bad. Oh, all people, did you find that miniseries? The 80s miniseries, Shakazulu. And it is called exactly Shakazulu. I think that is the exact title. I'm wondering if you found that because you were inquiring about it when we were talking about it the other day. I don't know. Again, they're trying to tell us it's going to cost $1 billion to retrofit. If that's true, it's going to cost $1 billion no matter what jet we take possession of. So whatever. It's probably an exaggerated number anyways. I didn't hear anybody complaining about, actually they did for a little bit. I take that back. A little bit of complaint about that battle wagon that Obama used to drive around in, that super armored limo, because he didn't feel secure in the other one. And Fluke Man is making assumptions about the plane's furniture. Yeah, it's supposed to be a luxury liner, so it should be really nice on the inside. And all people wanted to know if I saw the NBC had reported the updates on the murdered whites in South Africa, then responded by ignoring it and tacitly asking about the Qatar plane. What a cold-hearted demon. Interesting. Yeah, they were trying to play it off. I mean, Trump called that president out, and the president fumbled. I read that yesterday because the president says, oh, well, he's an obscure member of parliament, but then says he doesn't work for the government and has no power. Well, if he is a member of parliament, he does work for the government. And if he can get 100,000 people into a soccer stadium to put on red berets and chant, kill white farmers, then yeah, I'd say he has plenty of power. JJ says Democrats keep trying to make it out like it was a personal gift to Trump, talking about the jet, not to the U.S. government. Future presidents, representatives, or Republicans or Democrats both will benefit from it. That's true. And Cap says that's why I don't watch any late night shows or Saturday Night Live. It's all about politics and political propaganda. Lucky wants to know if we can borrow the plane. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think we can. Unfortunately not. No free jet rides for you, Lucky. No free jet rides for you. All people says the Democrats want to pretend that the Qatar plane went to Trump instead of to the Air Force. The political people will fall for the Democrat lies. Yeah. What did the who was it? Used to call them low information voters. I'm trying to remember the name of that conservative host. He used to call them the people that said stuff like that, low information voters, as a snarky way to take jabs at them. Somebody knows who it is. You can put the name in the comment section and I'll put it up. He died a few years ago. Peter says, bribe, where were they during the Biden and Clinton reign? Yeah, no kidding. And all people, okay, did not find Shakazulu, but he's going to keep looking for it. YouTube blocks everything. I'll try a different angle. I have it on disc. I know it was you might could buy it on Amazon, actually, because I thought it was interesting, and they didn't really sugarcoat it either. There's some over dramatization, which it is necessary for the film. But they did demonstrate him as being quite a butcher, quite an incredible butcher. And what is this? Okay, yeah, actually, I found it on Amazon. Let me show it to you. It's not that expensive either. For the regular box set, Shakazulu, the complete 10-part television epic, right there. DVDs from 3772. I forget what year that came out. Edward Fox, Patrick Nwulu, Christopher Lee, William Favre, Trevor Howard, Robert Powell, and so on. But yeah, they didn't sugarcoat anything with this guy. He was impaling people alive, burying people alive, obsessed with his witch doctor mother, wiping out entire tribes and entire villages mercilessly. It was pretty interesting. Yeah, Lucky wants me to go on a coffee talk trip and fly around and pick up subs. Well, if I was a huge channel, I might could. If I was like Mark Dice or something here, I might could do like a luncheon kind of thing one day. But no, unfortunately. But there you go, Shakazulu. You can find it. And not too expensive. I thought, again, it's been some years since I've seen it, but I thought it was pretty well presented. And then that began, by the way, on a side note, that began the cultural misappropriation of everybody claiming that they were descended to Zulu tribes. Remember, for a little pocket of time there in the late 80s, when everybody was wearing those leather Africa pendants, which I happen to have one. I don't know where it is, but I have one because a coworker gave it to me once. Gave it to me in like 1988, 1989. Everybody is, oh yeah, I'm descended from the Zulu tribe. Then it was, I'm descended from Egyptians. We're all kings. All of us, we're kings and queens. We're descended from Egyptians. Then it was Blindian. Oh, we're all half Indian. We're Blindians. And it's always like Cherokee or something. It's always a tribe you would have heard of. It wasn't like somebody said, oh, I'm half Massachusetts. Nobody says that. And now it's the Hebrew Israelites. Oh, they stole our heritage. We're the real Jews. And then I ask a question. I've mentioned this before. I asked this one question. We'll throw them every time. Oh, can you speak or read Hebrew? You want to fight? You're going to get it. Because no, they can't. None of them. And that's the one thing the Hebrew people have held on to for thousands of years, reading and speaking the language. If it was stolen from you, I think you'd want the language back, right? Jericho says, did you hear about the apparent assassination in D.C. last night? No, I don't think I saw that. I don't think I saw that. Is that there was something about it, a couple of Israeli journalists or something. Is that it? I heard I heard a little something. Is that what you're talking about? All People says, was that the Israeli couple? Okay. And Fluke Man wants to know if Crystal Lee's a bad guy like in all movies. It sure does look that way. It sure does look that way, doesn't it? Christopher Lee. Dude gets around. I mean, that guy's been in he acted in films forever. Forever. Okay, Monkey says it was 2 diplomats for Israel. Okay. Interesting. News story that I have open here, and this is African news. So you know you can trust it. AfricanNews.com. This is hilarious to me. This is virtue signaling at its finest. Pope Leo XIV calls for aid to reach people in Gaza in his first general audience at the Vatican. Oh, isn't that nice? Oh, please let those people get their aid. All right. Says Pope Leo XIV has called for humanitarian aid to reach those in need in Gaza and for an end to the heartbreaking toll on its people as he presided over his first general audience in St. Peter's Square. The Vatican said that around 40,000 people were on hand for the audience, which came just days after an estimated 200,000 people attended the inaugural Mass on Sunday for history's first U.S. Pope. Pope Leo XIV, the former Cardinal Robert Prevost of Chicago, and again, he was born there, but I mean, I don't even know that he's been back to the U.S. for damn near 50 years. So I don't know how accurate that is anymore. Began the audience with a tour through the piazza in the Pope Mobile and stopped to bless several babies. In addressing, that makes me think of like how, that makes me think of how like the old joke about politicians trying to kiss babies. They did that on Batman, the original Batman 66 with Bruce, Adam West. Adam West is Batman, and he ran for mayor in one episode because the Penguin was running for mayor and he wanted to run against him. And Batman said he didn't want to kiss babies because of germ transference. And then the Penguin was like, "Oh, look at him! What kind of person wouldn't kiss a baby? You want to vote for him?" Wah, 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 wah. So that's cute. Pope Leo XIV wants to ask for aid to please reach Gaza. They've been trying to send aid to Gaza since this all started. And once it leaves whatever country it's coming from and approaches Gaza, it gets hijacked. We read the story last year. A caravan of, 97 trucks with food and medical supplies out of Israel, escorted by the United Nations, all but like 2 trucks hijacked. They never made it, which is what always happens when you send aid to any war zone, anywhere in the world. I've never read a story where the shit actually gets there. Never. Either pirates or warlords or the government of whatever country that is, steals it all. Every damn time. If he wants aid to reach Gaza, he better talk to the people in charge there. Chuck says, I would think someone trying to reclaim the Hebrew heritage would prioritize mastering Hebrew. Exactly. Because I've actually had that argument twice. And it's, because I'm a Hebrew Israelite, because the religion was misappropriated from us because the original Hebrews were all black men. And I'm like, can you speak Hebrew? Does anybody at your I don't know, synagogue, whatever they call it. Are they calling it a synagogue? Do they, I'm not trying to be snarky about it. I'm being snarky now, but I'm like, does anyone there speak Hebrew? Can they read it? No. Don't you think that would be the most important thing? You can say whatever you want about the Hebrew people. They've held on to that language for over 5,000 years. May have changed a little bit, but they've never let that go. Even the written portion, when they compared the Dead Sea Scrolls to modern Hebrew, very minimal variation even in the writing. And that's the one thing that's really kept them glued together. So it's like, if you think that's you, wouldn't you want to reclaim that? I mean, that's my argument. That's my argument. But, whatever. I just think about, back to the article. It's really nice virtue signaling for the Pope to sit there and kiss babies and say, yeah, let Gaza get their aid. People have been trying since this started. And once it leaves, wherever it's leaving from, Egypt, Israel, wherever it's leading from, it gets hijacked by pirates or warlords from Gaza. And we've seen this over and over again all over the world. The aid never gets where it's going. Pirates, warlords, or the government of that country steals it and uses it for their own people or sells it. Jericho says he was arrested and that he yelled "Free Palestine." If he was arrested, do you think he'll make it to trial? That's the question. That's the question. Flukeman says that the two in Israel were also a couple. They were engaged in their 20s. And Lucky is asking, he said, I heard a little something about DC. Anybody here in Langley this morning? Some lady shot at the CIA. Front gates were closed. Interesting. But yeah, I mean, again, if you're Catholic, not trying to pick on you, but it's a very political position, more so than anything else. More so than anything else, unfortunately. And I'll catch up. I'll catch up some of the comments here in a minute. I'll put them up at least so that people can see it. See, Nature Nerd says spread Catholicism to Gaza. Good luck with that. Good luck with that. I wanted to go to Crescendo Education Group. It's a bit off topic, but I've been seeing more and more of this because more schools have been trying to adopt this system. And I think Connecticut does this exclusively now. Okay. Flukeman remembers the episode of Batman. If he remembers correctly, Penguin got his nose bitten when he got too close to the baby. Yeah, he stuck his face into the pram and said that he got bit. And a little trivia for you, too. Burgess Meredith he used to smoke and he had quit and he had not smoked for a long time, but the Penguin character called for him to smoke. So he had to have a cigarette again. And so that wah, 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 that he used to do is unique to him. Or he came up with that laugh. And it was a way for him to clear his throat because the smoke irritated him then. Irritated him. But this is a Crescendo Educational Group talking about grading accurate, bias-resistant, motivating, improves learning for every student and teacher. And it goes on to talk about the problem with traditional grading. And this is diversity education. diversity education, which again, Connecticut does this, I think, statewide now, and several other school districts across the country have picked up on this. And it tells you the traditional grading, the problem is the grades students receive profoundly affect their learning experience, opportunities, and life trajectories. Unfortunately, traditional grading practices have long undermined effective teaching and learning, reinforced achievement disparities, created high-stress classrooms, and failed to accurately describe many students' true learning. And it says that grading can now be more accurate and fair. This has been seeping into public schools for about 5 years, okay? Grading can build a student's agency that shifts from a focus on points to a focus on learning. Equitable grading, that's what they call it. Equitable grading updates and improves on our 100-year-old grading practice. Unlike traditional grading, equitable grading is grading based only on a student's understanding of course content or course standards, thereby making grades more accurate, fair, consistent, and motivating. It says higher student achievement and more rigorous standards, more consistent grading across teachers, narrowing of achievement and opportunity gaps. So how does that work? Okay. No homework. Sliding scale on letter grades. So you cannot get less than an F. If you had like a 35, they'll bump you to 50 so that you can get an F, which under this system is a passing grade. No tests, no time limit on assignments. So if an assignment is due on Friday and you don't do it, no problem, Jack. Turn it in whenever you feel like it, okay? Turn it in whenever you feel like it. There's the problem with this. I mean, there's a reason that that system had been around for 100 years. A, B, C, D, F, which F, by the way, meant fail, failure. 50 through 59 was an F, and you would not pass. You had to get at least 60, which was the lowest possible common denominator. That's why it's not A, B, C, D, E. F means failure. If you take all of that away, where's the accountability? Yeah, I mean, you'll get people to pass, and All People recommends a book called The 13th Tribe. Okay. If you take away all the accountability, then what the hell? This is a kid who is going to float through school doing the absolute bare minimum with zero expectations. And they're going to develop an attitude that they will bring with them into the workforce that is not going to work. It's not going to work. Because in the workforce, they don't have to put up with your bullshit. And if you can't meet your quota, you can't keep the lines moving, you half-ass cleaning up the bathroom, you're supposed to be collecting your shopping carts and you're around by the dumpster smoking a joint. I'm getting to it. They never gave me a hard time in school. This system, that's a failure system. But these are the people responsible for it right here. Crescendo Education Group. And they've infiltrated many school districts across the country, including specifically, like I said, my understanding is that Connecticut does that across the board now. No homework, no assignments, or no homework, no tests, no grade lower than 50. An F is still passing. No pressure to complete assignments at all. No pressure at all. And like I said, that creates such a lackadaisical attitude. They're going to take it. They'll carry that through their entire lives. Their entire lives. And won't understand why they can't keep a job, can't commit to a relationship, keep getting evicted from their apartment, keep getting the lights turned off. That's a failure system. You've got to have a meritocracy. People have to want to try to earn something. What do I want to try to earn if you don't care if I do the work or not? All people says Burgess Meredith is the best actor ever. I love him in every Twilight Zone he was ever in, and in Mice and Men, and Grumpy Old Men. And also, did you ever see his World War II Army PSAs? Those are interesting. Monkey says most teachers don't like that, since all the students would have to do is put their name in and boom, an easy D. If any teacher gives a student an F, the administration at the school, something. It dropped off. And yeah, Puck, updates on the missing cats. I spoke about it a little bit when I first started. No luck. I did another sweep this morning, and I still can't find them. I still cannot find them. I didn't go out as far as I did last night, but I went in a different direction, and it's killing me because, two of them are, they need help. They need me more than any of the other ones, because one of them is very old and one of them has no teeth. And it's really killing me. It's breaking my heart right now that I don't know where they are. And all I can do is, I can keep looking and hoping that they make it back. Hoping that they make it back. I mean, there's not much else I can do at the moment, unfortunately. But it's really disturbing. And like I said yesterday, I half-hearted didn't even want to do this. I was like, damn, I don't know if I want to do this for the rest of the week, because it's extremely distracting, because I'm thinking about it constantly, wondering if there's anything else I can do, more so than I have already, to try to track them down. And Rodney made a donation to the channel. Thank you, Rodney. Of course, that always goes towards helping our shelter pets, which, of course, you see I'm in a different location because we are moving and we're transferring them right now. And that's how a couple of them got away. But it's a heartbreaking scenario for me. The rest of them we're trying to either get adopted or allocate, because I have a pen I can lock them in. I have space that they would have to stay in, being outdoor cats, for up to a month to get used to the environment. Rodney also reminds us that if you can homeschool, absolutely. Absolutely. Lucky says, wait, you can't even smoke a joint by the dumpster at work these days? Why take out the garbage? No kidding. No kidding. That reminds me, when I worked at the mental health facility, you had to be there by 9 every day. Okay, this is an example. And the upper management let this woman get away with this, and I don't know why, because I would have terminated her. You had to be there by 9. Okay. My wife and I, we worked together at the mental health facility. We would get there at between 8:30 and 8:45 every day and set up. And we had another employee that would roll in 9:10, 9:15, 9:30, reeking of marijuana every morning, and then fall asleep at her desk. But she was connected to the upper management, so she got away with it. But that's the kind of attitude you can expect from people from these equity programs. And Crash says grading for equity doesn't sound good. No, it doesn't. No, it does not. No, it does not. As I pointed out, humans are hardwired, especially males. It's a natural instinct to be competitive. Okay? So you fuel that. You direct that competitiveness to encourage them to achieve whatever it is that they're doing. You don't just give them a pass, because then humans are also inherently lazy and they'll take the easy way almost every time. Almost every time. And you don't want to train that to a very young child that it's okay to be a lazy bum, because then that's all they'll ever be. The younger they are, the more ingrained that will become. The more ingrained that will become in their behavior. And they'll never accomplish anything. And they'll float through life wondering why their life sucks so much. And it's not like everybody has to win a gold medal or everybody needs a Nobel Peace Prize or something. You know, we're not all going to make these massive achievements. Oh, those are bullshit achievement now anyways, especially the Nobel Peace Prize is a sham anymore. But just it is an achievement to do the right things in life too. Pay your bills on time, do your job, take care of your kids, whatever it is. And this is breeding a generation of people that can't even manage any of that. And we're watching them fail. Watching them fail. Now, you see I have pulled up here, speaking of public school. And I see a story like this every once in a while. I find this fascinating when people do this. Fox News article, Venezuelan man arrested after posing as a teen to enroll in an Ohio high school. 24-year-old illegal immigrant from Venezuela arrested in Perrysburg, Ohio, after he allegedly enrolled in a public high school using fraudulent documentation. Court records show that 24-year-old Anthony Emmanuel Labrador Sierra has been charged with forgery and is being held on a $50,000 bond. The Perrysburg Police Department said it was contacted by the Perrysburg local schools on Monday about possible fraudulent activity involving one of its students. After a preliminary investigation, a fraud case was established and handed over to the department's detectives for further investigation. And here is a photo of Anthony. I don't know. Doesn't he look 14 to you? I mean, oh my God. Usually when I see a story like this, though, it's a woman. Rarely it's a dude. 9 times out of 10, it's a woman who just looks young, who either has some kind of psychological problem where they feel like they need to relive high school, or they're running some kind of scam. You rarely ever see a guy doing this. Rarely going to see a guy doing this. Flukeman said they saw a video where a father only punishes daughter if she agrees with him. She's going to have real shock in the real world with the police, future employers, and the guy across the street. That's weird. That's weird. Are you sure that's not some kind of shill BS YouTube account where they pretend to do something? You know, a lot of those shorts and videos and reactions are all fake. They're all fake. Oops, hold on a second. It says detectives worked with U.S. Customs and Border Protection and U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, and it was discovered that Labrador was a 24-year-old from Venezuela. Investigators also learned Labrador Sierra used fraudulent documents to enroll in Perryburg schools, posing as a 16-year-old student, calling himself an unaccompanied minor. And I guess he's been there since January 11th. 16. That's what happens when you let just anybody in public school. Just anybody. And I'll remind you again, I've told this story before. When I worked for juvenile justice, they gave me an illegal immigrant who was 12 years old, and I had no documentation for her whatsoever. Usually you get a folder, and it's got all sorts of information in there, and including usually their original birth certificate, their social security card, stuff like this, which I have to present to the schools. They've got to see that stuff. And if they don't have it, I would have to take my JJA credentials to the Department of Records and have them get records for me, which fortunately they would do for me because I was from JJA. Because most people wouldn't be able to do it. And this 12-year-old girl had nothing. Her folder was empty. And they were like, yeah, she's an illegal immigrant. Her parents are in custody, but JJA's stuck with her for now. Just bring her to the school. Don't worry about it. Don't you know they enrolled her? As all the trouble I have to go through to enroll these other students, and she gets a pass. I was insulted. Flukeman says you have my support if you need to stop the podcast for a while to spend more time with to find your furry friends. I appreciate that. Yeah, 'cause it is hard on me. And like I said this earlier, that some of you will understand and some of you may not. If I can't ever find them, a piece of me is going to die with them. Because I know they won't make it. The female will make it. But the other two, they're not going to make it without help. And it's driving me absolutely nuts. I can't stop thinking about it. And Puck is talking about Starbucks. Yeah, we talked about that a few days ago. And that's always in the states where unions are required. And it's 1,000 employees. And I think there's something like 36,000 Starbucks employees in the United States. So nobody cares about them. Rodney says Nobel Peace Prize has long since been corrupted. Obama got one. Well, yeah, for going around and apologizing for America, bastard. Lukeman said child support scam. Are you talking about the females who usually pretend to be young? Jericho says I bet he enrolled for food. When I've seen a scam like that, they usually end up pretending to be sick. Women who do this, cancer or something, and then start a fundraiser. And Phil is here, says, hoping I found the cats. No, unfortunately not. I have not yet been able to locate them. And I was out again this morning. So there you go. Peter, I don't know if I can say that word, has another suggestion for why someone might want to enroll in public school. No kidding. That's a good point. Good point. One more article here for you. Going to Chicago. And this is an Associated Press article. Justice Department investigates Chicago's hiring practices after the mayor touts black hires. Yeah. So did Eric Adams. Eric Adams, who had an entire black staff and bragged at a press conference, y'all ever seen so much chocolate in one place? We're going to get it done. Who remembers that? U.S. Department of Justice has opened a civil rights investigation into the hiring practices at the city of Chicago, according to a letter shared on social media and sent to the Chicago mayor's office. The probe announcement Monday came a day after Mayor Brandon Johnson spoke at Chicago's church to outline his vision for the remainder of his term. During the speech, Johnson praised the number of Black people in top positions in his administration. The speech garnered immediate attention on social media, including calls from conservatives and others to investigate this. The Department of Justice's Civil Rights Division shared its investigation notice on Monday, citing Johnson's comments to the congregation Sunday as the trigger for a pattern or practice investigation into whether the city has habitually violated Title VII of the Civil Rights Act, which prohibits discrimination on the basis of race. Considering these remarks, I have authorized an investigation to determine whether the city of Chicago is engaged in a pattern of practice of discrimination as set forth above, according to Assistant Attorney General for Harmeet K. Dillon. If these kind of hiring decisions are being made for top-level positions in your administration, then it begs the question whether such decisions are also being made for lower-level positions. I'm sure he is, because that's something that a lot of these guys have been doing to virtue signal. Something that a lot of people have been doing to virtue signal. As I pointed out, Eric Adams, and that was around December, wasn't it? Bragging about all of his Black diversity hires. Jericho says anything to fill a chair in those classrooms. Yes, because they get paid per student in the facility. So if they're illegals, it counts, which is also why I warned people that if you have a homeschooled student and you're offered anything from the public school, any kind of resources, do not accept it, because they will count your student as being in that district. Nature Nerd says, my cross-country coach said not to take shortcuts in training since your rival isn't taking shortcuts, which will make you lose. Indeed. And when my foster friend met his family in high school, they were a bad influence on his. Exactly. But this wouldn't surprise me at all if Brandon Johnson was deliberately doing this. Mr. Makeup Johnson, Pretty Boy Johnson, that's what I should call him. As you recall, he was also called out for having spent tens of thousands of dollars on haircuts and skin treatments and makeup. Fruity Pretty Boy Johnson. And he ain't that pretty. It ain't working. How many thousands do you need to pay at the barbershop for that haircut? This is a hair short of being Ed Grimley there. Ed Grimley was a lot more entertaining. Oh, no. Oh, no. And he should be under investigation. I'll have to watch out for how that turns out. Because, of course, the office denies it. Oh, no. But you were in the Chicago church bragging about it. Rodney says men wearing makeup ain't right. No, it's not. I don't like women in makeup. I don't like women in makeup. It's bad for your skin anyways. It's bad for your skin anyways. As we get close to wrapping up here, and I will go ahead and open up the national debt clock. National debt clock. Here it comes. And we'll see where Doge is currently. Projected Doge savings at $460 billion. And it looks like it'll hit 461 here within actually the next 20 minutes or so, with a projected personal savings per taxpayer of $4,101. Nice. Nice. And Peter says almost all makeup is highly toxic. Yeah, it's not attractive. I mean, I understand if you're doing it on TV or you're doing it for something, but most people Most people do not look good in makeup. I don't think they need it. I don't like the way it looks. I don't like the way it smells. But anyways, with that, we are at the top of the hour. So I will go ahead and start signing off. Again, you are listening to and or watching Coffee Talk, and you can find the live portion Monday through Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube. And I will point out again, if you're watching this on Prepper University, please do subscribe to Coffee Talk Live on YouTube so that you can find it. Because as of the first week of June, I'll stop sharing it on both channels so I can get back to doing prepper stuff on Prepper University. You can find me on X at Coffee Talk Chat. You can find me on fistfulofradio.com, podcasting out of Atlanta. Special thanks to Rodney for making a donation to the channel today. Always, always appreciated all the help I can get. And we will catch you again tomorrow.